Ruta.com. Got a big Webbot hit here with Bitcoin. Clif had talked about a few reports back about the Japanese really getting into Bitcoin and the Chinese getting into Bitcoin, but the Japanese especially. And an article today from Bitcoin.com, Japan's BitPoint to add Bitcoin payments to 100,000 plus stores. 100,000 stores are going to take Bitcoin. Retail stores. Amazing information. Talk about, anybody who says Bitcoin's just a flash in the pan, it's not going to be around, no one's ever going to adopt it. You're wrong. Right there, 100,000 plus. And it's just the start, my friends. Let's go through the article a little bit because it's really interesting. Also, this Peach Aviation takes Bitcoin now. Peach Aviation announced last week that it will be the first Japanese airline to accept Bitcoin for tickets. Peach is Japan's first low-cost carrier and is majorly owned by the country's largest airline, All Nippon Airways Co. To accept Bitcoin, the low-cost airline has partnered with BitPoint Japan Co., a Bitcoin exchange and payments startup founded on March 3rd, 2016. All these companies are so new. It's awesome. In addition to allowing Peach to accept Bitcoin for flight tickets, the companies are working together to add Bitcoin payment options to souvenir shops, restaurants, and hotels at travel destinations. Further, quote, we will jointly install Bitcoin ATMs where customers can withdraw cash from Bitcoin, their partnership agreement reveals. On Monday, Bloomberg reported that BitPoint is planning to give hundreds of thousands of Japanese retail outlets the ability to accept the digital currency. The company's president, Jinki Uda, said, we're holding discussions with a retail company, adding that we're also talking to big convenience store operator about using it, Bitcoin. By going through a company providing payment terminal services to shops, we have the possibility of increasing its use at one stroke. It's easier than talking to lots of individual realtors. This is it, man. If you're not in Bitcoin now, you're going to be chasing it, and you're already chasing it. Just remember back the first time you heard about Bitcoin, the very first time you heard about it. Somebody said, "Oh, I heard about this thing called Bitcoin. It's really expensive. It's like $3 for a Bitcoin. It's a virtual currency. Who would pay $3 for a Bitcoin?" Well, somebody would, and the idea is brilliant and has been growing and growing, and the infrastructure of Bitcoin is growing. That's what gets me really excited. That's why Bitcoin's going to outlast all the other competitors, is because the infrastructure is growing. And they will fix the scalability problem. Bitcoin always has problems. They're fixed, and it's what Clif calls anti-fragile. Now, remember when Clif said, I think it was years back, that the Japanese were going to adopt Bitcoin in a big way, and this is it. This is just the start, too. That's a funny thing. Pretty soon, every single retail shop in the world will accept Bitcoin. Pretty soon, as in maybe it may take longer, maybe 2 years. 2 years! Can you imagine the price of Bitcoin if every retail shop in the world took Bitcoin? I'm just saying, it's not like I didn't tell you, right? How long have I've been screaming it for 3 or 4 years now. 3 or 4 years. And have people gotten in? Some people have. People who join the road to Ruta, the private road, have their $30 in Bitcoin sitting back there in their closet collecting dust. Actually, I think it was $20 I was giving away back then because the memberships were only $199. So yeah, Bitcoin is happening whether or not you jump on board or not. So my advice, get on board. Let's see what else they're saying. BitPoint currently has ties with several retailers and plans to expand that number, Uda told the publication. The aim is to promote the use of Bitcoin in retail stores instead of as a speculative investment, he detailed. Roger Ver should be jumping up and down because that's what the world needs. We need the retail uses. We need to get it in the hands of the people before the banks crash so that people say, we have an opportunity to use something else. That's the key. The people of Greece were not given any opportunity to use anything else other than the euro. So they had to go begging to the euro for a bailout. The European Union gets with Greece and says, okay, we'll give you money that we print out of thin air, but you have to, cut your savings in half and forget about your retirement money and do all these austerity measures. Bullshit. You're creating that money out of thin air. Are you kidding me? Out of control. If Greece had adopted Bitcoin early on, they could have said, get away, EU. I don't need you. I don't want you. I've got something else, something called Bitcoin I can just go to. And then they'd have all the cards. 100% of the cards would be in the hands of the Greek people. And then, yeah, they could still go for a bailout, but they wouldn't have to, give up their life for the EU to print their money. I mean, just thinking about it is so bizarre and weird. And a country gives up their sovereignty, their financial sovereignty, to a bunch of bankers in Brussels that they have to go begging to so that these bankers can print this money out of thin air and give it to them, only for them to pay back the banks that lend them money in the first place. So it doesn't even go to the Greek people. It's really insane when you sit back and think about it. Bitcoin lets you get around, lets the people say no more. Even if they don't use it, it's a great bargaining tool. You imagine if the Greeks just said, no, we have Bitcoin, we're deciding which is going to be a better deal. Sticking, putting everything into Bitcoin or going back to the EU. You guys better come up with a great deal for us or we're just going to Bitcoin. Great bargaining chip. All right, here we go. 400,000 stores could accept Bitcoin. Since April 1st, the Japanese government started recognizing Bitcoin as a legal method of payment. A slew of Japanese companies have started considering accepting Bitcoin. The first major retailer to do so following the government's move was Bic Camera. I thought it was Bix Camera for a second there. One of the country's biggest electronic retailers. The company partnered with Japan's largest Bitcoin exchange by volume, Bitflyer, to accept Bitcoin. Also in April, another Bitcoin exchange, Coincheck, announced that it had been working with Recruit Lifestyle to bring Bitcoin payments to over 260,000 stores by this summer. Is it starting to ring a bell? Is something starting to get exciting? Claiming to hold 99% of the Bitcoin payments market share. Coincheck said that about 5,000 stores already accept the digital currency using its payment system. It's running, people. It is running with or without you. So if you're going to make your purchases of Bitcoin, now is the time to do it. Don't wait. Let's see where the Bitcoin price is. Bitcoin right now is at $2,224 per Bitcoin. No, you don't need $2,224. You can get $20 worth of Bitcoin just as easily as you can get $2,224. I mean, you'll have to have the money. People who use Coinbase, I know I tell people to join Coinbase because it's probably the easiest to set up, but their customer service is the worst, and if you're confused, they're no help at all. You can go online and figure out other ways to get Bitcoin. I use Kraken.com, which is an exchange. Also Gemini, which is the Winklevoss brothers exchange. You can buy it through an exchange or an online wallet. I like to use Copay is a good one. Copay. You download the app for your phone. And they sweep wallets. They can scan a paper wallet and sweep the whole Bitcoin balance onto your Copay online wallet if you need to spend some of your Bitcoin. It's that easy. And I know a lot of people are struggling, saying, oh, this is so hard to do. I don't get it. It's too confusing. It's going to get easier and easier and easier. Over the days, weeks, months, years going forward, the more people utilize the Bitcoin system, the easier it's going to be because companies are going to make it easy. The easiest things to use will be the most popular. Right now, on your mobile phone, I use Copay. I don't use Coinbase. Coinbase is too hard. They're not making it easy, so something else jumps up. I use Copay, and it's easy. And not as big a trouble as far as shutting down and delays that we see at Coinbase all the time. When things are busy, first thing Coinbase does is basically freeze their system and freeze you out of your money, and everybody freaks out. And they've always come back and and fixed it, but it's the times that things are really hopping that you want to be able to buy Bitcoin, and people get excited and they just get too busy and they basically shut their doors and freeze you out. They froze me out for like 3 weeks of my bank account, saying, "Oh, it's under review." I'm like, what does it take? You know, they just open it up again, and I know it's not because, you know, there was anything wrong with my bank account. The problem was they didn't want people buying Bitcoin because, or probably Ethereum, because they didn't have it and they were selling it, just like all the other exchanges. And you know, on the latest fallback in price, they probably bought some more, and you know, that's the game they play. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Coinbase, but it is the easiest, or it was. Now there's a lot more easy ways. Anyway, let's look at a couple of these prices. Bitcoin, $2,224. It fell back. You know, it was up at 2,800, 2,900. I heard in the Asian markets it was over 3,000, approaching 4,000, because all the exchanges are different. They're like a whole bunch of them, tons of exchanges out there, and they're all sketchy. So be careful. Ethereum price, of course, it went down to $150, and now it's back up to 191. Ethereum will be, by the end of the year, I'm thinking about $1,000. So it's 5 times where it is now. It's not that big. It'll wait, probably even more, probably over 1,000. That's my guess for Ethereum will be more like 1,500 by the end of the year, whereas my guess for Bitcoin is going to be about 10,000. Yes, $10,000 per Bitcoin. And all it has to do is the same thing it did in the last 18 months. So let's see what happens. But so far, so good. And I mean, such an amazing technology, and nobody knows about it. Still to this day. Price has gone up. And do any of your neighbors know anything about Bitcoin? No. No, no, no. And I even live in like Silicon Valley Central, and there's Bitcoin companies all over the place. Nobody knows about Bitcoin in my area. Nobody. On my street, I'll guarantee you, and I live on the long city street, I'll go house to house and they won't know a thing about Bitcoin. That's how amazing this technology is. I would say less than 1% of 1% of people on planet Earth know what Bitcoin is. And so anybody who says Bitcoin's in a bubble, give me a break. Tell them to read the article about 400,000 people in Japan who can very soon use the Bitcoin to buy almost anything they want. Japan is embracing it. The U.S. will embrace it too at some point. I just don't know when. Probably when the banks crash and we get mad at the banks. Remember what happened in Greece. Greek system crashed. They had to go to the EU for a bailout and go begging to the bankers. In the United States, when the banks crash, the bankers are going to be begging to us, begging to Congress to bail them out. And we're going to say no, not this time. And we'll have Bitcoin. And we'll also have gold and silver. Probably not much silver, but a lot of gold. So be ready for that. It's all in the Road to Ruta comics. Take a look at them. If you don't know what the Road to Ruta is, the Road to Ruta theory, go to the YouTube video called Discovering the Road to Ruta. And it walks you through how I figured out there were people behind the scenes trying to take out the banksters. And the people behind Trump. Not necessarily that Trump is the savior. He's not. He was the only figurehead that they could put there. They tried to put Ron Paul in. Look what happened there. You needed a bull in the china shop, and that's exactly what they got. So there are people behind Trump who are making this happen. Trump's doing a good job. I mean, you might not be able to see it, but he's doing just fine. And behind the scenes, they're kicking ass, taking names. Not only taking names, arresting people. And the arrests will come fast and furious once all the other stuff about the bad guys comes out, which is really exciting. I mean, it's an exciting time to be alive. It's scary and exciting. But in the meantime, get your Bitcoin, get your Ethereum. Look at Ethereum right there, $191. And what, yesterday or the day before was $150? Those of you who bought on the pullback of Ethereum, congratulations. I know Will there did. Nice job, Will. And if you don't know who Will is, go to perpetualassets.com. If you have a 401k that's still in the system, or an IRA, 401ks are tough to get out of, but an IRA still in the system, he can teach you how to do a rollover into an LLC, a self-directed IRA, and you're in charge of it, and you can buy Bitcoin in a paper wallet form and stick it in your LLC for your retirement. Can you imagine what that'd be worth when you retire? Crazy. And physical silver in your own possession, but still in your retirement account. No penalties, no taxes. It's just a rollover. Call Will there, perpetualassets.com. Go to perpetualassets.com and call Will. Or you can call Gus too. I love Gus. And Gus and V have a new show called Cuss with Gus. It's hysterical. So check that out at Rogue Money. But yeah, and check out the Wednesday Hump Day interviews that I do every Wednesday with the Gorilla Economist. And he accidentally had his camera on when I was setting up the call last time, so I know exactly what he looks like. And he looks like a gorilla, a lovely little gorilla. Anyway, this is Bix Weir, roadtoruta.com. Make sure you send this thumbs up, like it, send it, and post it. We'll talk to you later.